Hi guys, welcome to another video lesson on i-nastava. My name is Davor Černi and this video lesson is intended for 4th grade high school students. The topic of today's lesson is where to next. In this unit you'll be reading an original text, you'll watch a video about traveling, you'll use different strategies to understand the listening and reading, and you will be analyzing specific information and implicit messages in the text. Let's get ready, get your equipment ready, and of course you can stop the video at any time and do the activities you're asked to do, and in the video description you can find all the links needed for this lesson. So, take a look at these images and try to guess the subject of this lesson. So the first one was road or highway, the second one was trip, journey, and the third one was USA Statue of Liberty. So the topic of today's lesson is road trip USA. Do you like traveling? Where would you like to travel to? What would you like to see in the future? What is your favorite transportation means while traveling? Pause the video, take notes, and explain the reasons. Share your ideas with your classmates. A road trip across the USA? Would you like to take one? Well, if so, make a plan with a friend from your class about your road trip adventure. Take notes about the following. Establish the route and the budget. What time of the year would you go? How many days? What are your stops along the way? What about the accommodation? What are some of the must-see sites and landmarks? Share your ideas in your class. Before you start, here are some useful tips. Hire some Hot Wheels. Choose the right travel buddy. Pick the right route, plan it out, take it easy and stop once in a while, pump up the volume, and don't feel the need for speed. Let's do some reading. A road trip USA. Let's take a road trip along the Pacific coast. So it will be a true-false reading activity. So read the statements that you have to decide whether they're true or false. There are 10 of them. Highway 1 happens to be the least popular portion of the Pacific Coast 101 highway. The Pacific Coast is widely perceived as an industrialized society with large malls, freeways, and overbuilt suburbs. There are small portions of nature to enjoy as you travel on this particular road. 1,650-mile smooth 4-lane route extends all the way to the Mexican border. A great deal of the Pacific Coast is in the public domain and accessible. The national, state, and local parks are a habitat for some of the rare animal species. The Oregon coastline is an industrialized portion of the West Coast Pacific route. The Avenue of the Giants is home to gigantic forest trees and their peculiar attractions. Although abounding in natural beauty, the West Coast road trip is scarce in historic sites. The most energizing cities of the West Coast are bustling with a variety of restaurants, cafes, and places to stay. So you can follow the link, read the text, and mark the sentences true or false. You can download the statements from the link Pacific Reading, or you can follow the other link Pacific True False and automatically check your answers. Let's check if you were correct. The first statement is false. The second statement is true. Number 3 was false, 4 false, and 5 true. Why was the first statement false? Well, Scenic Highway 1 is the most popular portion of this route. Statement number 3. You have miles and miles of scenery all to yourself. Statement 4. Almost all the way south to the Mexican border. Next 5 statements. Statement number 6 was true, 7 false, 8 true, 9 false, and 10 true. Let's check the correct answers to statements 8, 7, and 9. Where recreation has by and large replaced industry. And statement 9 is remarkable for the abundance of well-preserved historic sites. What about the use of English? Let's talk about collocations. The previous text is abounding with various collocations. Collocations are words that fit together, such as noun, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Here are some samples from the text. Astoundingly beautiful. We set up our tent by an astoundingly beautiful lake. Public domain. I'm not sure about that one. Do you want to put such information into the public domain? And suburban desert. You can easily follow raccoons' distinctive tracks along trails leading directly to suburban desert swimming pools. Read the text again and find some more examples of collocations, like body obsessed, logging fishing community, comparatively peaceful, and so on. Your first task, following this Selena trip link, write a short description, 70 words, of your trip and try to use at least 5 collocations from the text. If you want some more practice on collocations, follow these 2 links. The article you have just read also included a few slang words. There are 2 collocations used to describe people, personal traits, or character. Can you find them? Have you spotted them? Can you guess from the photos? The first one was kooks and crazies. And the second one? Airheads. Now we are going to watch a video. This is a family from the USA called the Grahams, and they like to take road trips. And you're going to hear about their many cross-country road trips. Try to answer the questions using the link. So following the first link, listening questions, you can download the list of questions. And if you want to or have to rewatch the video, you can follow the second link, Graham video. Or if you just want to listen to the whole story, click on the link Graham listening.
Hey everyone! So we heard that you guys have been learning about the United States and road trips and, you know, Route 66 and the freeways across the United States. We are the Graham family and we are kind of pros at road trips.
Absolutely. You know, we have probably driven across the United States, no exaggeration, about 100 times.
No exaggeration.
In the last 23 years that we've been married. And so our just recent road trip across went from us landing from Egypt into New York, and we went all the way across to Idaho. So Alexis, you want to tell them where we went when we landed?
We went from Pennsylvania to Knoxville Nashville and then to Tulsa, and then we went back up to St. Louis to have a outreach where we handed out pies and turkeys for Thanksgiving.
For Christmas, actually.
For Christmas.
And so then from there, we went across Route 70, across
Interstate 70.
Interstate 70, across the plains of Kansas and Colorado, through the mountain.
Into the Rocky Mountains.
Mhm. And then over into Utah and up to Idaho for Christmas, where we celebrated Christmas. But that was one of our routes. We often spend time in Idaho, but we've also lived in California, so there's been many times where we have done a route from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Santa Monica,
Which
Los
is
Angeles,
exactly
California.
the end at the Santa Monica Pier. Highway 10 goes into PCH, or Pacific Coast Highway, Route 1, exactly, perfectly.
Right. And Cliff is from Los Angeles, and so that was something that he did even far before we got married. But this past summer, when we made that route, we went from Tulsa, and the scenery changes when you leave Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and you come into the panhandle of, not the panhandle, the panhandle of Texas. Then you go across into New Mexico.
From green rolling hills
To
to deserts.
Yeah, and you see the scenery change all throughout it, and it reminds us, Lexi and me, of riding trains in Europe as you're going fast and you see them all change, and you're like seeing water, and then you see, lush green hills, and then it gets a little drier. So it's the same with America.
Yeah, well, it's even drier when you get out in the west of America because of the desert.
Through Arizona, New Mexico, and then in eastern Southern California.
Right, but in portions of that Route 66 especially, some of it in Flagstaff, Arizona, that's high desert, so you will see, some beautiful regions to travel in, and that gets cold, it snows there.
Yep.
We've just loved driving through the beautiful tall trees and watching beautiful rainbows appear because of the kind of temperatures that they have at certain times of the year.
And then sometimes it gets hot, 45 up to 50 degrees Celsius.
In different areas of New Mexico and things. So you do have to prepare, especially in the summer. We had one time where our vehicle broke down in New Mexico, and near Tucumcari, New Mexico, and it was very hot. And so it was a good thing that we had lots of water with us.
It's about 42 degrees Celsius.
And we had a cell phone, so we were able to call somebody nearby to come and help us. But it is something that you do have to prepare for, whether it's the extremes of the winter and you happen to be on one of the routes, or the extremes of the summer. Many times whenever it is the hot time, we try to drive it straight through. Now that's 22, 23 hours from Los Angeles to Tulsa, and that's a pretty long drive for most people.
Tell us what you do, girls, when we're driving.
Yep.
Well, when I was younger, Lexi and I would play American Girl dolls all throughout the thing, and
We'd
we'd
read
play
books, we play Uno, we play different games, and
We draw.
And Lexi, you had a specific thing you used to like to do when you were real young, 3 years old. What was it?
I used to create like a stick man in my brain and have them hop over mountains and trees.
And she told us this a year ago, and we all were like, that's hilarious. And when we were going on road trips, she imagined stick figures jumping on the...
That's how she would entertain herself.
Yeah.
Our family, we really enjoy cities, but we also enjoy rural areas. And so we love camping. We actually go to a lot of the national parks, and we have kind of a checklist, and we've been doing that for several years now. So just on the past, last year, we went to the Petrified National Forest. It's a park. It's very easy to go through. You end up getting to see these beautiful logs that have fossilized, and it is beautiful. It's a very quick and easy park to go to, but there's a number of places that you can go on that route, and it's just really fun to explore, and we do love doing that. With what we do, we're able to, and we encourage you that if you ever have an opportunity to come to the United States of America and you get to explore, that those routes are a lot of fun to take, especially in the spring or in the fall.
Yeah.
And they say get your kicks on Route 66. Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.
Let's sum up what we have just seen watching the Graham family road tripping across the USA video. The family has traveled across the USA about 100 times. Their last trip included places like Egypt and New York, and they ended up in Idaho. Their last Christmas they spent handing turkeys and pies in St. Louis. To get to Idaho they used the Interstate 70. They went over the plains of Kansas and Colorado through the Rocky Mountains and Utah. The family used to live in California since Cliff comes from Los Angeles. When traveling from Oklahoma to California, the scenery changes from the green rolling hills to desert. This reminds the girls of their train rides in Europe. Some of the driest places in United States are Arizona, New Mexico, and eastern southern California. The temperatures can get up to 45 or 50 degrees when you get to New Mexico. Their vehicle once broke down in a desert. The trip from LA to Tulsa takes 22 hours straight. On such long trips, the girls like to play games, and when Lexi was still very small, she would imagine stick figures or stickmen hopping over the mountain. The family also likes camping and visiting national parks, and they like to explore new places. Task number 2. In the video, the family mentions the Texas Panhandle. Following the link above, do a little research about it. Write a short report, 70 words, on the topic. Maybe you'd like to take a road trip across Europe. Of course, these days we intend to stay home and stay safe, but still we can plan. Use one of the following links and plan your road trip Europe. Before we part, go back to sleep, give us the thumbs up, or jump for joy. Thank you for taking part in this video lesson. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, bye!